Hi, Democrats. Today is Tuesday, February 9th, otherwise known as Election Day. So if you have an election and you haven't voted, you now have 2 hours and 44 minutes to get out there and cast your vote. Be careful, because most places in Oklahoma, the roads are kind of rough because of the ice. So be really careful, but get out and vote. So this is kind of a perfect place for me to say, this is why we absentee vote. Because you get an opportunity to cast your vote at a day when the weather's fine, you can get out there and do everything. And then if the weather kicks up on election day, you don't have to worry about getting out. So it's too late for today, but there are elections coming up. So please go out to the Oklahoma State Election Board, to the voter portal, and request your absentee ballots for the rest of the year. If this weather tells us nothing, it's that we need to stay at home when we can, and we don't need to be waiting outside in a line to vote. I haven't left my house in about 72 hours. And I feel good that I'm not missing an election because the roads are bad, because I'm not leaving the house because the roads are bad. So sign up for your absentee ballots for the rest of the year, and you don't have to worry about what the weather looks like on election day. So today's word is, the word of today is voter protection. And I'm going to cast it in a positive light. We're going to talk about voter protection. So I took some time today and really combed through. I peek at them every once in a while because voter rights are really important to me. You guys have figured that out because I talk about it all the time. But I went out and I looked at both on the state house and state senate side to look at what bills are being filed with regards to voter rights. And we have bills that are very affirming of voter rights, like, can we figure out a way to do do electronic balloting? Is there a way that we could do auto registration when somebody turns turns 18, or if they if they try to get their driver's license at the age of 18? Those kinds of things are affirming of voter rights. We need to make it as easy as possible for people to exercise their right to vote. Then we have bills, Lord. Let's see. I like to categorize most of these bills I'm getting ready to talk about as solutions looking for a problem, because these bills were not written with Oklahoma in mind. These bills were written by ALEC, ALEC, not Alec, your cousin. These bills were written by ALEC outside of our state, and some of our legislators, hey Amber, hi Christina, hey Wayne, not written by outside people, and our legislators went and took those bills and slapped Oklahoma on it, even if it has nothing to do with how we do things here. So my name 'em and shame 'em for today are those largely, I haven't found one with the Democrat's name beside it, but those Republican legislators, both in the House and Senate, who are writing voter suppression bills. Shame on you. We need to be making voting easier in the state of Oklahoma versus making it harder. And whatever excuse you have for making it harder, shame on you. It's not acceptable. So we have rules like, if someone wants to do a petition initiative, let's make it harder. And by the way, let's modify our Constitution so that there is no way that they can ease out of it. Let's make it where we request a certain amount of folks from every single congressional district, and then there's a fee. So what they're saying is, take whatever bills we put and like it. You do not, Oklahoma citizens, get to introduce legislation. Not fair. And it doesn't sound like they want to hear us. There are 3 that I found that are just trying to change the absentee ballot rules to make it harder. Just all different kinds of, you have to prove that you need it. You have to be traveling or you can't. That is a step backwards. Oklahoma, one of the good things about Oklahoma is that we have no excuse absentee ballot. All you have to do is be a registered voter and not want to wait in line, and you can request your absentee ballot. That is a positive. What they're trying to do is go backwards, and they're trying to say, prove that you have a reason not to go vote. And I don't think that they'll accept, I don't want to wait in line. I don't think that they'll accept it's just as easy for me to vote from home. And that should be enough. As long as I follow the rules, am a registered voter, I should be able to vote from home if I want to. And when I say follow the rules, I leave here, I go find a notary, and I get it turned in on time. That should be the requirement. They're now trying to add a requirement that says you have to be traveling for work, you have to be in the military, or you have to be in the emergency room of a hospital. Shame on them. There are two bills that are asking that we require a recount on certain types of issues. That's assuming that we don't count it right the first time. I mean, just, it's this kind of election. Let's just make sure that you count it twice, no matter what. Oklahoma has a very effective voting process. It's paper. It's hack free. I worked as a election poll worker at one point in time, and when we gathered up all the ballots, I had to sign it across the tape, and someone else had to sign it across the tape so that it could not be messed with in the interim. And if it was, the two of us were held accountable to that. We have a way. And so adding this other solution for a problem that doesn't exist is truly just an act in furtherance of the big lie. The big lie is that the last election was stolen and rife with fraud and blah, blah, blah. No proof, has been verified not to be true. And we need to stop adding information that confuses people, because there are people who are confused who really think the election was stolen because they've been fed so much misinformation. And we need to stop with the misinformation. Our poll workers, our dedicated poll workers who, for little pay, even though they did just get a raise, in my opinion, they're just about volunteering to work 14 hours on a Tuesday. They have to be at the polling place like at 6 a.m. And then after everybody's voted and they're at their watch parties, imbibing alcohol, enjoying themselves, these people are in line dropping off their ballots, and they usually don't get home until after 8 o'clock. They volunteer for that. And for them to say we don't trust their counts, I think is offensive and it shouldn't be allowed. Let's see, other things. So they've added some more language for we need to purge this kind of voter. And then for certain elections, and they didn't detail what kind, but for certain elections, they want to require you for this kind of election to have to re-register. You're registered. That's like saying if you want to drive down this street, you have to go take your driver's license test again. If you're registered, and it should stand. But they're putting in, they want to purge, and they want to make, regardless of the purge, they want to make you re-register for certain types of elections. Cut it out. So the name of and shame is that in Oklahoma, voter suppression is alive and well. I live in Tulsa County. And before Democrats got all hip to absentee ballots, and we were doing it, but we were not doing it near as much as Republicans were, you didn't hear that much talk about absentee ballots, and you didn't hear that much talk about widespread voter fraud. We got involved, and they're all of a sudden just assume that there's kind of all manner of widespread voter fraud. The election of 2018, absentee voter ballots were rejected at a rate of about 3%. People didn't sign their affidavits. They didn't, do all the things that they were supposed to do at a rate of about 3% here in Tulsa. I can speak for Tulsa because I saw this up close and personal. In November of 2020, we actually had some dedicated poll workers. Thank you, Ali Canada, Sherry Lasky, and Cortez Johnson, and Sherry Robinson for going and sitting at the election board, and Berlinda Radney, for going and sitting at the election board and watching that process. Consequently, there was a rejection rate of 1%. That's down from 3%. It went down to 1%. And the rules and regulations got a little bit more complicated and a little bit more layered. I got notice today that in Tulsa County, the rejection rate for absentee ballots for the election today was 6.7%. That is a huge jump. That's double what it was in 2018. Honestly, I do not believe that voters somehow forgot how to do it in the 3 months since the election. Voter suppression is alive and well in Oklahoma. Please call your legislators and tell them that you want your vote to count and that you want them to vote down some of these ridiculous voter suppression bills that are being put forth to try to make a law. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. My plea for you to go out and help a candidate stands. Go help a candidate. Today is February 9th. Today is the day for the call for precinct elections all over the state. So if you want to get involved in the party, you want to be on the line of people who vote, who determines who your county officers are, who your district officers are, who your state officers are. The way to get involved is to become a precinct official. In order to do that, reach out to your county chairs. Reach out to your county chairs. Find out exactly how to log on to the Zoom for your precinct elections. Precinct elections are March 11th, so be on the lookout for that. Check periodically, because as they get Zoom logins and all that kind of stuff, they're updating the Oklahoma Democratic Party website. Check periodically and see if you can find your county there. You guys have a great day, and I'll be back tomorrow at 4:15.